All right, deciphering the messages from the body. We are now going to take apart last week's episode where we talked about not breathing in the first rib. I had a client, neck pain in essence. Why you're getting neck pain is based off of the fact that you're not breathing well. You're not breathing well is because you have many different thoughts going on and emotions-wise. Now, this is going to be the fun part. I got a message right after I sent that from a client that actually did a technique of being able to sit quietly and find out why she's doing things. And as I was going through my initial view of the muscle tissue, she started to piece things together, and she saw a bunch of things that happened in her childhood, a bunch of phrases, a bunch of words that was happening inside her childhood, and she paired it with one of the reasons why she's never letting her stomach go. And it's a common belief that I hear all the time. So we're going to take apart why do we hold our bellies in, trying to not have the muffin top, but actually creating it. So while I was a body worker, one of the things I started to catch on to consistently all the time was the fact that women had an increased level of tension through their adductors, keeping their legs closed, as well as a need to hold their belly up. And I was seeing that they were bearing down on their pelvic floor rather than picking it up and holding it nice and gently. They would actually bear down. So it's almost like they're locking their hips in place. And I start to see this cycle throughout the whole triathlete work because I was heavily working with triathletes at the time. And I realized that they couldn't do a lot of the pelvic range of motion, getting their hips to rotate left and right because they were holding so much tension there, as well as they were getting a lot of rib issues and they weren't able to expand their ribs. So it's the exact opposite of what's happening up top. The fact that your top rib can't move doesn't allow your rib cage to move. It's the same thing with your core and your pelvic floor. So let's take a look at this real quick. So we have muscle tissue. We have our external obliques here. Right here. Let's move it over here. And then we have our abs, our rectus abdominals. This is the six pack that everybody wants, right? Let's zoom in a little bit here. That's what everybody wants. Right? But what happens is, we're going to rotate you ever so gently. Our internal obliques is right underneath our abs, our internal obliques, and then we have our abs, our external obliques, have our internal obliques. We can hide that. Then we bring this over to here, to our transverse abdominal, which I showed you last time, wraps all the way around your body. This, in essence, is your true core. But what happens is, let's bring you back. What happens is we, as a society, only focuses on our abs. And what these things do is they roll you forward. And as I showed you before, as you start to roll forward in life, you start to have emotional constrictions. You have a lot of things that don't want to emotionally open. You're not being this outward person. So we focus on getting the six pack, which is closing us off emotionally as well as mentally. Plus, what happens is you start to contract different, bring me closer. You start to contract. Let's get rid of you. Transverse abdominal. Thank you very much. Here. You start to contract naturally different parts of your pelvic floor. So these things hold you up. And what I started to notice with women is because they heard the belief when they were young, you have to keep your legs closed. So what happens is they started to close their legs and they had a resting tension rate that was higher, locking in more tension through here, locking up the pelvic floor, and it would work its way up to the fact that they also heard, don't allow, and this is the society telling you, don't allow the muffin top. So suck it in. You have to bring it in. So the fact that their pelvic floor is locked and they're trying to bring it in creates their rectus abdominal to work even harder. So to give you an example of this, let's give you an example, is I'm going to use this balloon. Tie this off. Normally I don't tie this off, for example, but I have to show you this. So this is your whole belly, right, itself. And we're trying to now, with a frozen pelvic floor, because of our adductors, everything that's happening, our diaphragm bearing down on ourselves, we're going to now get our rectus abdominal, suck it in. And you see how naturally, as our pelvic floor gets pulled up, because it's locked pulled up, and our diaphragm gets pulled down to breathe, we now start to bring our rectus abdominal, that's these two right here, in. You see how it's actually creating the muffin top. So believe it or not, the harder you try to suck it in, hold it in, the more you create everything to flub outwards. And now that word comes out, there's something that's going to happen with your gallbladder meridian that comes on the outside. They're going to get excess, which is going to cause an excess on the gallbladder side. There's so many things that happen from there. Down to temporal headaches, down to so many different things that's going to run through here because the gallbladder meridian runs through there. But the point of this whole thing is the fact that we unlocked this, we also have to unlock our hips in order for us to actually get a six-pack. We have to get everything to start moving. So your pelvic floor needs to open up. Your adductors in between your legs need to start opening as well for you to get access and allowing your six-pack to grow. So all because you have this belief of, I need to hold my legs tight, as well as this belief of you have to hold it in, you're creating the actual thing that you don't want, which is muffin top. So deciphering those messages for her came to me watching this and her seeing this and her now thinking all the reasons why she has this issue. And every time I asked her to allow the energy, the wind, the air to go into her belly, and she actively thinks that she can't because it's not right, that is the win here. That's what I want you to start thinking about. Why are you not allowing certain things to happen? I can guarantee you there's a belief and experience down from your childhood that you are now aware of. So let's start consistently deciphering those messages that your body's telling you. That's the purpose of this. So I'm ridiculously excited. If you guys are starting to get more and more examples of this, just like the client that I just had, tell me. I'll take it apart and we'll have some fun. See you soon.